Hello everyone, today I'll be bringing you the second of two Warhammer 8th edition 500 point games that I played recently. This one's going to be using my newly expanded Empire force, the Graudorf defense. Let's get into that right now. In the center we have an Empire captain. He is equipped with full plate armor, he's got an enchanted shield, and he's got a sword of might. So this guy is pretty good here. He's got a 5 strength, 3 attacks, he's got a 2-up armor save, which is real nice. To the upper left, we've got the Ruddy Reavers. Those are my unit of swordsmen. They have full command. There's 20 of them. Down below them, I have a detachment of Free Company. That's just 5 ordinary dudes with extra hand weapons. That's the Angry Mob. To the right of Captain Kirgy, we have the West Watch. Those are 6 handgunners. They are also a detachment of the Ruddy Reavers. And behind them, we have my newly painted knights. Those are using the old Volan's Venators models. They are old dogs of war. Anyway, the concept behind my Empire force is that they're sort of a secluded, out-of-the-way community. It's not a place where a lot of things happen, so they don't have all the fanciest equipment. They don't have the biggest armies. They're kind of a bunch of rednecks and hicks living up in the mountains. Anyway, so they don't have the greatest stuff. So the knights that they have are the ones that either have very old armor that have just been handed down through generations, or they're people that they have hired from somewhere else. And I think that these models fit that bill really well. They have a kind of a, I don't know, it's sort of like the not the most up-to-date armor. They've got sort of an older style, and I really like the brassy color that they had for the Games Workshop paint scheme that they've done. So that's what I've replicated there. Anyway, those are Captain Klink's riding roughshods. There's 6 of them. They've got a standard and a musician. My opponent, again, is using his Wood Elves. He has a Spellsinger, level 2. He is using high magic. I've been corrected on the previous video that level 2 Spellsinger can't use high magic. They have to use one of the 8 magic lores. It's not really going to make that much of a difference. I am going to rub it in my opponent's face next time I see him that he made a mistake, and therefore, yeah, any victories that he gets get nullified. But no, it's not really true. He's going to take 2 blasty spells. He's going to take Soul Quench, and he's going to take the Coruscation of Fenrir. So really, he could achieve just as good results using fire magic, and he would have been just happy. In fact, he may have actually been handicapping him a little bit by taking something like high magic instead of fire magic, or something that would be more debilitating for me. But anyway, we'll find out how it goes. Over on the left, he has a unit of Glade Guard, 11 of them. Over on his right, he has a unit of 3 Treekin, and out on the flanks, he has 2 Great Eagles. Here's the board we have set up. We decided we did not want to use a river anymore. Instead, we've got 3 wall sections. Those are there down at the bottom. We have the swamp, the mist-wreathed swamp. I believe that's the one that if you go into, you have to make like an initiative check or something like that. Otherwise, Fenrir will come out of the swamp and drag you down and eat you or something like that. So we weren't terribly interested in going there. We have an ordinary hill up at the top, and of course the Wood Elves get their free forest, which my opponent of course has in his deployment zone. It's a little bit hard to see him. He's got his Glade Guard set up in that forest as well as his Spellsinger. He gets a bunch of advantages in that forest. Namely, his Spellsinger gets a +1 to cast spells. So you can see Treekin off on the right, you can see his Great Eagles off on the left, and of course my force is clustered there in the center. I'm going to try and make that mad dash to his main unit of archers and his wizard and try and get them. So I'm going to get the first turn, and so everyone's going to move forward. I don't really want to sit around getting blasted by high magic, so I'm going to move forward as fast as possible. I'm not in range with my handguns, so they're just going to move up, hopefully to fire off some shots in later rounds. So it's over to my opponent. So he's going to move one of his Great Eagles, and he's going to redirect my knights. So it's just going to park right there in front and just take my knights out of the equation for an amount of time. His other eagle is going to hop back over to his archers over by the woods. He's probably going to get ready to do a very similar thing in future rounds. Nothing much happens in the magic phase. If I'm not mistaken, I think he gets a Soul Quench off on those knights, but their armor protects them from any damage, and he doesn't get his big Coruscation off. His archers are going to pick off a handgunner in the shooting phase. So it's back to my turn. Well, I don't really want to sit around just waiting to get killed. And there's a thing that I can go and kill right away, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to charge into that eagle with my knights. The Ruddy Reavers and the Angry Mob both move up. I have a reason for moving that Angry Mob up behind that Knights. For the life of me, I couldn't tell you exactly why. I don't know what I was thinking there, but you can see those swordsmen are moving up to try and take on that unit of archers, or to lend support to the eagle if it still happens to be there a round from now. In the shooting phase, my handgunners just missed the elves in the forest. I think one of them actually does hit, but I failed to wound. Anyway, no damage is caused. In the combat phase, my knights don't take any damage, but they do cause 2 wounds to the eagle, which is a little bit disappointing. The eagle does break and flee, and I'm going to chase after it. Now, I need an 11 or 12 in order to overrun into those treekin. I also could have just held and reformed, and that may have been the better plan there. So the thing is, those treekin are ready to countercharge into me. However, even if I get the charge, these guys, those treekin are toughness 5, they've got a 4-up armor save, they've got a 6-up ward. I'm not terribly confident I'm going to do a lot of damage to them. So I'm thinking it's just going to be a grinding match between the treekin and the knights any way you slice it, whether they charge me or I charge them. So I kind of think it's worth the opportunity to try and A, run down this eagle, because I hate eagles, and B, get the jump on my opponent, get an extra turn to try and grind these guys down, because I'm kind of thinking I'm probably not going to take any damage. He's probably not going to take any damage, but I have a standard and musician, so I'm hoping that that's eventually going to swing things. And of course, I have those swordsmen moving up. So anyway, that's what I go for. Turns out I totally fail on all accounts. I don't catch the eagle. I don't overrun into the treekin. So in hindsight, maybe not the best. So it's back to the Wood Elf turn, and the eagle goes ahead and rallies. It's not in combat with the riding roughshods there, but he does go and he charges in the treekin. And because that eagle is in the way, he can only get 2 of them involved in that combat, which is probably to my advantage. His other eagle hops off to the left. It does not want to be in range of my handgunners. The magic phase is a bit more action-packed. He manages to get Coruscation of Fenrir off, and I get a little bit lucky with this spell. So it lands on the Ruddy Reavers, and it kills off 6 of them. So that's actually pretty good for me, because that spell could have easily killed like 2/3 of that unit. So only losing 6 was not bad. The bad thing is that they have to take a panic test, and they fail. Leadership 8, it happens. My captain gets bonuses for rolling break tests, but not for panic tests. So they take off away from those Glade Guard, and fortunately don't move through my handgunners, but that definitely doesn't help. It means that help is a long way off for my knights. His Glade Guard go and kill off 2 of my free company. They managed to pass their panic test, so they're fine. Yeah, this combat goes about as well as I could expect. I do manage to lose a knight, which is a little bit unfortunate, trying out that new armor save, and it doesn't really help. It does mean that with my standard, he is going to win by 1. I do manage to hold, which is nice, but this combat is going to go on. So I decide to go ahead and reform. I'm not really sure that we did this right. It may be that since it was his turn, he had to reform first, but I'm not entirely sure. I go ahead and reform, and I put some of my guys in the back rank. 2 things on this. First off, it gets 2 more knight attacks, which isn't really going to do a whole lot. But it also prevents him from, in future turns, getting more of his treekin into combat with my knights. Now, of course, he just reforms and drops back a little bit, so he cancels that out. But, so I probably could have done this a little bit better, but this is what I did in the short run. We'll see how it goes. So it's my turn again. Thankfully, the swordsmen do rally, a little bit far away from the action to be of any real use right now, but I'll take what I can get. The free company, I've been threatening my opponent with these guys. Said, yeah, you're taking on the knights, but you forgot about these guys. They're going to come and they're going to get those archers. Oh, and that Coruscation of Fenrir, it does continue from round to round. I forgot to mention this earlier, but of course, I've got nothing else to do with all my dice, so I just dispelled it and it went away. The handgunners, again, don't do anything to the Glade Guard. It's just too hard hitting elves and woods. This combat continues to go bad. I believe on this round I fail my fear test because the tree can fail fear, which obviously doesn't help. And then they get to swing and they get 2 hits on me. Now here's the thing. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of story on this. So a while ago I had done the audio for this video, and somehow it went bad. Like I couldn't use the audio, so I'm actually re-recording this. But I did the whole thing. I was like, oh man, I had these 2 armor saves of 3+, and I failed them both. All I needed to do was pass 1, and I would have been in a much better position. But I failed both of my 3-up armor saves. I do cause 1 wound to the treekin, which is nice. I am still going to win the combat because of standard and musician. They are going to be down by 1. They are going to pass their break test. But yeah, that was a pretty bad round of combat. However, I wonder if you picked out the mistake that I made in all this. And I didn't realize this till a couple days after I had recorded the audio of this. And I certainly didn't notice this at the time that I was playing. Somehow I had gotten it in my head that these knights have a 2-up armor save. I can't imagine why I did this. I know they have a 1-up armor save. Everyone knows they have a 1-up armor save. That is their thing. That is why knights are so great. But when I went to do this, I thought, okay, I've got a 2-up save, they're strength 4, that's -1, okay, down 3, I need 3s. I know I rolled a 1 and a 2, and so I could have saved myself a knight. Would that have made much of a difference? Now that I'm thinking about it, quite possibly not. But it does kind of bug me, you know, it's like, ugh, why was I so dumb on that? I should have known. Again, my rolling is just bad on these armor saves, just in general. I think I had 3 armor saves to make, and I failed like 3 of them. But I could have only failed 2, possibly. So, my bad. I know it bugs me when I watch battle reports and someone makes a mistake like this that could have changed the outcome of the game. Again, it's not necessarily certain that this would have changed anything, but it didn't help. So it's back to my opponent's turn again. He is going to take that Great Eagle over on the right, and he is going to charge my free company. I don't really want to do that. I go ahead and flee. He manages to pass his leadership test to redirect, and he just goes into the knights, which is probably what he wanted to do from the very beginning. He just wanted to clear those guys out, make sure they weren't a threat, and go help those Treekin in their combat with the knights. Not that they seem to be needing that much help. His Great Eagle, again, he just hops back over to those knights. I guess it's just not really sure where it wants to be. Thankfully, his magic doesn't do anything. I think he's now going to start rolling pretty low numbers for the amount of magic dice that he has. And so he's going to be taking all of his dice and going for that big Coruscation of Fenrir. And he's either failing it or I'm dispelling it on a double 6. His archers do manage to pick off one of my swordsmen. Okay, so here's a bad thing. So I believe I go and I fail fear yet again. I'm still under the impression that I have a 3-up armor save. I honestly don't know what I rolled for all this. I'm going to take another wound. I'm going to cause no damage. I am going to break and I am going to get run down. So that's too bad, you know, but that's kind of newly painted model syndrome. You get something brand new on the board that you're totally excited about, and they just go and completely fail you. Now, it would have helped if I had remembered all the rules, but nonetheless, these guys, yeah, they weren't put in a great position, and I made some rules mistakes, but they got stomped on and run down, and so this isn't looking too good for me. Okay, but I got a couple bright things on this turn coming up. So my free company on the left, man, those are some bold farmers and peasants over there. They go in, they rally, they're back into the fight, and my swordsmen go and make a charge against those Treekin. So that's not too bad. They still have some ranks, they have full command, and I've got that captain in there with his magic sword, so 3 attacks, weapon skill 5, strength 5, I could do some stuff here. The handgunners, of course, go ahead and shoot and miss the elves that they've been shooting at this whole game, so they don't do anything again. So this did not go great. So I charge in there, and now these Treekin, they get to hit squishy Empire swordsmen, and they get their stomps and all that. So they go ahead and they kill 4 of my guys, which hurts. I do manage to get 2 wounds through them, which takes off a Treekin, which is a kind of a big deal. But it does mean that we only win by 1. So we've lost like a third of our guys. We only win by 1. They go ahead and they pass their break test again, and so this could get rough real fast. It's my opponent's turn again, and here comes the charge of the Eagles. The Eagle on the left is going to hop over those Glade Guard, and it's going to charge my free company. Whatever, those guys got that. They're totally on top of it. The Eagle on the right goes ahead and charges into my swordsman. Fine, I'm going to get a chance to kill off that thing. Remember, it's got 2 wounds on it right now. I only need to cause 1 wound, and I at least get to kill that. Magic, again, doesn't do anything of any consequence. The archery does open up and kill off 3 of my handgunners. They pass their panic test. And here's where things start to turn around. The Eagle charges in and causes no wounds whatsoever. A little bit of a replay of that Vampire Counts battle that we had before. This Eagle must be the terrible one. Anyway, so it doesn't do anything to these free company, even with its stomp and all that. They go ahead and swing back with their hammers and their pitchforks and all, and they cause 2 wounds to the Eagle. They end up winning this combat. The Eagle does hold, but good job to the angry mob. Things aren't looking as great over on the right. I put a bunch of attacks into that Eagle, still don't manage to kill it. Between the Treekin and the Eagle, only 3 of my swordsmen die, which is not terrible. but I don't do anything to the treekin. The only good news is that I am steadfast because I have still got a front rank of 5, and the treekin, because they lost a guy and besides he was in the back rank and all that doesn't count, they don't have a rank. So I get to roll a break test on my leadership of 8, rolling 3 dice because of the hold the line rule because of my captain, and I do manage to pass that. I am going to go ahead and reform, pass my leadership test to do that, and I'm going to bring all those swords into contact with the eagle. I'm going to bring that thing down. My intent is to kill off that eagle with those sword attacks. So, over to my opponent's phase. I don't really know what happens in magic and shooting. They may have buzzed off all my handgunners. It doesn't really matter. There was only 2 of them left. The Free Company are victorious. They do have one of their guys killed. The eagle goes and scratches it to death, but in return they swing back and they bludgeon that giant bird into the dirt. So that's why in the Lord of the Rings you don't send a bunch of eagles out with the ring to solve all the problems. That wasn't going to work, because if farmers can go and kill off one of these eagles, then a whole army of orcs. I digress, but that's why they didn't do it, because these eagles are unreliable. And this one just died, and so, hey, again, I did not get totally annihilated without causing any damage. I just didn't expect the angry mob to be the main damage dealer so far. Unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of the last thing. I think I was just a little bit disgusted with how this all went down. The eagle over on the right fighting the swordman, it goes and it lives. It survives all the attacks against it. I don't cause any damage to the treekin, so I've caused no wounds whatsoever. Swordsmen just die in droves, the unit breaks, it's no longer steadfast, and they all get run down. And so that's the end of that game. So another big stomping for one of my force. Again, it would have been nice if I had gotten the armor save on those guys correctly, but looking back on it, it looks like it probably wouldn't have made any difference. In the round where I know it would have been important, I went and I won by 1 regardless of whether or not I had a guy survive, and then I may have just lost just regardless. It still bugs me, but I think the Empire was looking for a good stomping. So that was 2 games, a little bit disappointing. I did get to try out my new armies and I did get to learn a lot of things. Other good news coming up, though, is that a friend of ours had actually come over and he was watching this game and was thinking, man, I missed this game. I really wish I got to play too. And he got so fired up about it that he has designed a Warhammer escalation campaign for us to play. He wants back in the hobby, so he has written up a rules packet. We're going to be going through this thing. I'm actually going to play the first game in this tomorrow. I'm not exactly sure when I'm going to get the first battle report out, but it's in the works. It's going to be a small Warhammer escalation campaign. We're going to start out small. We're going to start out at 400 points. The guys devised scenarios for each round. We're going to play everybody in the little group that we have 1 time each round. And then we're going to go up to 500, 600, 700, that kind of thing. So you'll get to see some larger battles coming up. We're going to pull in some different things. The scenarios have some little change-ups. We'll go into that when the time comes. But anyway, I hope you're looking forward to that. I hope you enjoyed these battle reports now. Again, we're a little bit rusty, so hopefully some of these things will get cleaned up, that kind of thing. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or concerns or observations, that kind of thing. And I will see you on the next one.